About 35 miles west of Wichita, near Waterloo, is the land where John Gerber homesteaded. John came to Kansas from Germany, married his wife Agatha, and on this little spot of heaven, they raised a family of 9 children, including their youngest and only son, Cornelius. Cornelius stayed on the farm, where he and his wife Lena raised 7 children of their own, including Eugene John Gerber.
There's a middle child syndrome, as they call it, and I had 2 sisters, a brother older, 2 sisters and a brother younger. So I got the best of both worlds. Honest to God, we were a great family. We played together. We visited families together. We did a lot of things together.
A lot of fun. Very dedicated to each other. It just seemed like we fought probably, but nothing severe.
Growing up in the 30s and the 40s, the close-knit Gerbers were a typical farm family. Along with the fun, there was plenty of hard work. And faith played a major role in daily life.
I remember one time when my clothes were really dirty, and Mom said, we're going to go down and we'll make a visit. And I said, but look at my clothes. I said, I'm really dirty. And Mom said, God doesn't care if you're dirty or how you're dressed. He's just glad we're going to pay a visit. So we would go in and pray. And the church, since it was pretty close to home, we passed that church frequently. But so very, very often, we would go in to make a visit.
We prayed a lot of rosaries, and the kids would kneel on the floor. Sometimes if there was a sofa there, we kind of leaned forward, but that was just expected that the minute we started the rosary, that we would kneel down.
Both parents had a great impact on us. I always felt that God gave our mother many special gifts. She had an immense amount of love for her children. She had an immense amount of love for her neighbors.
The Gerber children received a wonderful example of a nurturing and loving environment from their mother, and in turn, an understanding of how much God loved them. From their father, they learned hard work and sacrifice.
He always ate last, and that came from the 30s, late 29s and 30s, in the Depression, when he wanted to make sure that my mother and the kids had plenty to eat before he ate. Now, that's the best testimony that I can give to my dad.
Bishop also learned a lot from living on the farm, lessons that helped form his personality.
And you see life that is tame and life that is wild. And so I caught a little bit of both. And I was the ornery one among our 7 children, and the middle child. And I got into, not a trouble, but I got into the exploring what needed to be explored. Something like a university does.
That curiosity might best be illustrated when he was in 1st grade and came home from school with an idea.
We had 2 dogs, and one dog was named Jimmy, and Jimmy had this short tail. So he took the scissors out of his pencil box at age 6 because he was going to go to the barn and cut the colt's tail off so it would look like Jimmy.
And it kicked me in the right eye, and my eye came out here on my side, on my cheek. Well, that was an indication of the way in which I lived my childhood. I was never content just to be, and it didn't get me into the kind of trouble that kids might today, but it got me into the trouble that comes with being ornery and inquisitive and curious and sensitive and all those sorts of things.
One other thing that I remember about him is after he was ordained a priest, he loved working with the youth. And I remember one time he told me how much he enjoyed working with the youth. And he said sometimes I'd have to turn my head and chuckle because they reminded me of me. So he had that sense of adventure, and he was somewhat ornery, but in a wholesome sort of way.